Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to crown a winner, a champion for the European Nexus Games, and it is going to be either Team Sweden or Team Poland. Both those teams have played one hell of a tournament, and me and my analysts, I think we're pretty happy with how this tournament has gone up to this point. We saw a lot of ups and downs, some smiles, some frowns, but overall, a really exciting Nexus Games.
Absolutely. We have seen so many interesting series. We've seen huge versatility in terms of playstyles and in terms of heroes in general. This could not have gone better, and it couldn't have come down to two better teams.
Yeah, absolutely. I think these are the two best teams in the tournament, and it's going to be so... I've run out of words for exciting, but it's going to be so exciting to see who actually can win.
Yeah, and I think if we try to compare those two teams a little bit more, it's safe to say that Poland, they entered this tournament right at the highest level. They didn't really show any signs of weaknesses. They were considered to be one of the favorites, if not the top-tier favorite, to take the crown. However, Team Sweden, they started a little bit from the bottom, and now they have made their way all the way to the top to really face one of the strongest teams in the finals. Yeah. Now, I do want to talk about one aspect about this series. Sweden now, they have had time to watch Poland very carefully against Team Germany. Do you think that could be an advantage for them to come into this?
Possibly, but you can argue the same way round. While Poland were waiting for their game, they would have absolutely been watching Team Sweden as well. They've had these opportunities to research each other. Poland is going to know Sweden's comfort picks, and Sweden is going to know the scary stuff, like that incredibly burst composition we saw with the Anubrak and the Karasim that Poland can bring out from time to time.
To be honest, I have the feeling that Poland were not showing everything they had against Team Germany. That burst composition is the most aggressive composition you could think of in this game. But that doesn't mean it's the best aggressive composition, and I feel like they might have been exaggerating some places, hiding stuff other places. I feel like Poland still have a lot up their sleeves.
All right, so without further ado, we're going to take a look at the map vetoes here between Team Sweden and Team Poland as we're diving into the most important series of the Nexus Games. Team Poland, they take out Tomb of the Spider Queen.
A more standard map removed by Team Poland here, leaving Black Hearts, Mines, all of these shenaniganry maps available to be used here.
Do you think this could already be a Polish approach of tackle the Gul'dan?
Maybe. That would be a really good call. If so, we know how scary it is.
All right, so we're going to need a little bit more time to see the other ban in this series. So I've heard things about Blackheart's Bay, like a little birdie tweeted into my ear that the other ban was Blackheart's Bay after all. So Captain Blackheart yet to be selected later on.
Two times it was played this entire tournament. One time, I believe, maybe at a minimum.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've seen it be played, and the team's not going to be comfortable. It's unlikely they would have had as much time to practice it, for example, whereas Mines, team seems to be a little bit more willing to go there. We see much more games there.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a bit surprised at that ban from Team Sweden. We haven't seen Poland play that map, as far as I know, and I don't think that's a map that Poland would want to go to either, but just covering all their bases, playing it safe, as we do now know Poland for.
So another bird just tweeted into my left eye that it was Haunted Mines being banned and not Blackheart's Bay. However, that kind of confirms a theory that we had also. It's basically almost the same. But, gentlemen, I want you to predict what the first battleground could possibly be. Give you a tip. It's hot.
He's hot.
It's hot.
He's hot. Well, there are two potential maps that could be hot. It depends whether we're going by lava hot or nuclear radiation hot. So I am going to be going with Infernal Shrines.
Warhead Junction for me.
Almost. It is Dragonshire. But to be fair, there's a lot of fire, a lot of lava going on. So maybe I'll have to think of a better tip next time. Either way, how happy are you with that first battleground choice?
I like it. It's going to show off the versatility of the teams, and we already know both these teams can team fight, and we know they can rotate. Let's see which one is better at the latter. Bakery?
Yeah, I mean, I think Dragonshire is a map that overall is going to slightly favor Team Sweden. They've played it a lot in this tournament. They've looked very strong on it in this tournament. But the main thing was that Poland looked very vulnerable against Germany on this map just a few hours ago.
Yeah, that is a very good point you brought up there. And maybe Sweden could have actually learned a lesson or two from Team Germany of how you deal with a Polish team that is putting them out of their comfort zone. Maybe try to go for the stitches and similar picks as well.
Potentially, the Stitches is likely something that they will have practiced. It's standard enough that it will make it into scrims. Like we said, we were surprised we hadn't talked about it more when it actually came up.
Yeah, definitely true. Do you think Stitches could be a factor to be reckoned with here, Bakery, or do you think it was like a once-in-a-lifetime experience that Team Germany got us with?
Honestly, I think Stitches is a hero that's fine in most situations. He's tanky, he does a lot of damage, and he can always win games with that hook or that Gorge combo. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was picked, but at the same time, I don't think either of these teams will feel the need to pick that hero to get the win.
And so, research has been done by Team Sweden here, removing out that Chromie. Now, we know Mana has other heroes as well. He's shown Li Ming, I believe, at some point in this tournament, but we see Genji as the first pick for Poland.
Yeah, that looks like a Gugu's pick here right off the bat. But ladies and gentlemen out there in the chats all around Europe, raise your banners, raise your flags in supporting the teams once more. If you think Poland is going to take it, hashtag PLWin. If you think it's going to be the Swedish boys who will take the cake and maybe even crown themselves champions later on, hashtag SEWin.
Who saw this coming? We did, as we see the Veigar and the Gul'dan coming in straight away for Team Sweden.
No surprises, playing it standard, at least standard for Team Sweden, of course. Poland, on the other hand, picking up that Genji, to me that indicates they are focusing a lot on picking something that Sweden do not have much practice against. France were not fans of the Genji earlier.
True, very true indeed. So having this Genji as a first pick also does leave them open. It's very likely they're going to pick a second damage dealer. It's unlikely we could see maybe the Abathur copy. This is not the most Abathur-friendly map in the pool.
It's not really the best of Abathur maps, as you guys pointed out, but we have seen it in competitive play in the past here. Now, solid frontlining coming in from Team Poland. The ETC is such a staple. Zadoon actually one of the most impactful ETC players, except for the one game on Dragonshire against Team Germany.
True, very true indeed, where they did have a little bit of trouble as Li Ming is banned out. The targeted bans here
against Mana.
Mana, are they trying to force him onto this Probius?
I mean, it looks like it. Sweden's game plan is being revealed, which is ban one mage, pick the other mage, and ban another one. So, Mana, is he going to end up on Probius, or will we see Jaina or Kel'Thas even?
So Mana did play Greymane against Germany. However, it is now Team Sweden's choice to maybe pick the Greymane away, tightening that choke point around Mana even more.
Do it. Show you've done your research as they pick up Muradin, who's good as a solo tank, so they have room for a second damage dealer if they want it.
Picking Greymane would most likely lock Sweden out of two supports. Okay. So they opt to pick up Malfurion.
Very true. They go for that Malfurion. And the Greymane is still available. So now Poland, do they want to give Mana the Probius, or are we going to see, like we predicted, potentially that Greymane, or is he going to show us something new?
We spoke about how Greymane doesn't often pair very well with Genji in standard compositions because they are both so aggressive and there's no one to stay back a bit in the back line and just put damage out. So we might see Greymane, but I tend to lean towards another hero for Mana.
Which one? Thinking of? Probius?
Probius is on the edge of my tongue, but I can't quite commit to saying it.
I mean, Mana definitely seems to be a hero or a player that feels more comfortable in the mage department. Like, his go-to choices are always Chromie or the Li Ming. So maybe a Kel'Thas coming into the mix. I mean,
I can see it.
As we mentioned earlier, there's always the chance of that. Karazim and Greymane. So we're sticking to something a little bit standard here, but still aggressive from Poland.
Yeah, so we spoke about how they couldn't pick the Greymane because it was too aggressive. Well, if you pick the Karazim as well, then you definitely open yourself up for that.
It's the second solo support Karazim composition where the idea is just go in and stay near Karazim because he's going in with you.
But again, let's look at the comp of Team Sweden.
Yeah.
They have Horrified, they have Twilight Dream. They could even have another melee assassin here, possibly Tormented Souls from the Malthor, or possibly even something like that.
You could even go for Tyrael.
I like that Poland did actually learn from their potential issues in the last time they ran this comp by banning the Brightwing. The Emerald Wind did give them a little bit of trouble last time. Tyrael is available. This would put them into a double tank solo cooldown damage dealer. Instead, it's the Arthurs. Not going for that hard disengage. Instead, they say, let them engage. Come to me. Give me all of my stacks.
Yeah, very true. Arthas is the bane of melee-centric team compositions. The Greymane in particular, even the Sonya could struggle. Even the Genji, if he gets locked down by crowd control effects, could really have a hard time. Now, speaking of crowd control effects, I think there's going to be a lot of responsibilities on Knutti's shoulders here with those Horrifies. They need to be on point, otherwise that heavy aggression coming towards them could be the end of Team Sweden.
But we've seen in the past few games that those are some burly shoulders when it comes to putting the weight of his team on them. He is great with these Horrifies, but I doubt we've ever seen him under this much pressure from the comp style we're seeing from Poland.
Knutti's one issue is that sometimes he does stand a bit too far forward, and against a composition like that, he cannot afford to make those mistakes.
Yeah, so it's going to be the supports to keep him safe. And Henning, for the most part, has done such a wonderful job, always making sure that on the Rhaegar, he's basically far enough back to not get initiated on, but still close enough to drop a life-saving cleanse or an ancestor healing.
Very true. Completely agree. He's shown some great stuff for us so far. Let's see if he can continue to do it. He has even some extra supporting for himself.
All right, guys. Which draft are you feeling a little bit more? Very quickly.
I'm looking at Team Sweden. I'm thinking they'd got exactly the draft they wanted, and they got Poland to pick exactly what they wanted them to. I think Team Sweden can do it.
I love the Team Sweden, I love the Horrify, but I also love ruthless aggression. So I am going for Team Poland.
All right, we're going to find out which team will reign supreme very shortly. In the meantime, I'm going to introduce Team Sweden on the left-hand side with Skoch on the Arthas, Rask is playing his good friend Murden, Knutti on the Gul'dan, of course, Dykart on the Malfurion, and last but not least, Henning on the Rhaegar.
Whereas on the right-hand side, it is Team Poland, with Mana playing the Greymane, Juf on that Karazim, Zadoon on the ETC, in the mid lane, hiding in a bush, it is Gugus playing the Genji, and in top, hiding behind a gate, it is Wolves playing the Sonya.
And this matchup, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the ultimate assassin showdown between Knutti and Gugus, two players who have had such a heavy impact onto those games like hardly any other ones before them. In the meantime, Rask trying to go for that early aggression play, beautiful body blocking by Zadoon, and as such, not really all too much pressure being applied.
Rip the waves of both teams as they are cleared up with insane prejudice.
Yep, definitely true, and you can really see how both teams are trying to go for those pesky, sneaky plays of dismounting heroes over and over again. Zadoon feels the pain a little bit, but Arjun is here to keep him safe and sound.
A brave move to power slide in blind there, basically, trying to catch someone out of position. Unfortunately, he nearly got punished himself.
Yeah, Gugus now using cyber agility to actually make it over the wall very safely without running into the open and welcoming, but also painful arms of Team Sweden.
I don't think I've ever heard welcoming and painful used as the same as a descriptor for the same thing, as Juf is able to Radiant Dash away onto Mana.
In the meantime, it is a battle between Sonya and Arthas in the top lane, which Sonya seems to be dominating up to this point, actually making sure that the top shrine remains under her control.
Indeed, as we see the root being dropped, preventing Mana from leaving and Juf from moving back to his team. But they weren't putting on any pressure, that was just to annoy them and deny them the minion clear speed, so more shots were burned on those towers.
We see double block, by the way, coming in as the level 1 towns for both Murden and Arthas. Hold that thought. Knutti in trouble. He ends up falling. First blood for Team Poland.
But now we see the attempted counter move here onto Mana or Zadoon, but Zadoon is able to Zadoon is too tanky and Mana able to disengage.
Yeah, but once again, the double block is basically the big countermeasure towards the Greymane attacks. Even Karazim can hit very hard.
And Sonya,
and Sonya, very true.
Yeah. And Arthas' Rhyme is incredibly effective, especially seeing as he will be the one not furthest in the front line, but the one who's going to eat all those hits. As we see Ras taking a lot of damage, not able to understand, but as the first Dragonite goes over to Poland.
But you can really see how fast Team Poland was able to flip the switch. The moment they killed one hero, Knutti in that instance, they turn on the heat, they rotate as a unit and prevent any further delays on the Dragonite. And once again, this early Dragonite isn't really game-changing, but it can really lay the foundation for later pushes.
As the Dragonite is getting absolutely chunked, but it is still gaining value. Taking down the entire front wall as the rest of Poland take down the front wall in the top lane. Wolves also cleaning out the lane, and in the Dragonite it was Genji, so there was very little risk of a capitalization kill as we see another Shuriken mastery build on Genji.
Yeah, Gugus really seems to have found his favorite build there with the Shuriken mastery, which is actually a little bit of a more old school build here now. In trouble, same chain CCs and landing, but Genji is here to help him out.
Not enough damage. Muradin and Malfurion are good at a lot of things, but killing someone quickly is not one of them unless Muradin was to take very specific talents and unless Malfurion had his level 10.
Very true, but it's still a long way to go until that point. But really cool to see how Gugus is reviving the glorious times of pre-nerf Genji.
Exactly. It's interesting to see. He doesn't go with the Shinigun to get the extra single target damage. He does just like the extra poke. It's cool to see. Yeah, as opposed to relying purely on I'm going to reset or I'm going to die.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's safe to say that it's actually a much safer build than the all-in Swift Strike build. Speaking of safe things and aggression, Team Poland is having none of it. They invade the Siege Giants on the left-hand side and steal it successfully.
Out of safe things and aggression, Poland does one of them as they continue to move into the bot lane, trying to push in and grab themselves another front wall. This would be the last remaining front wall available for Team Sweden.
Yeah, and ammunition is almost gone in those towers, so there's only a limited amount of possibilities for Team Sweden to defend this. However, Poland did have other plans. They're getting back to soaking. They actually established themselves a very solid 1-level lead in total.
Indeed, they're looking good, and that would have been even bigger if they'd got 2 more rocks out from the Siege Giants, 1 each, so they would have taken down that top tower as well.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, you enter a bush and you see a big beam morph in there, and yeah, very scary.
It is very scary indeed. Even though he is a very friendly person in general, in terms of personality, he's very warm.
Until you make him angry.
Until you make him angry. As we do see Wolves move it up to take control of that top beacon.
All right, level 10 is getting dangerously close right now for Team Poland, and they just seem to be absolutely on point with those ganks. They seem to spot every single weakness in the formation of Team Sweden. They find an isolated Malfurion, and they take him out in milliseconds.
And because of that, the double channel that was available for Sweden nets them very little because they did not have anyone available to rotate up. And now, guess what is available? Double channel for Poland! And it's the second Dragonite of the game.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate. Knuti basically misaimed or mispredicted the range of the corruption. It was not long enough to really reach Genji, who was channeling the Dragonite. And once again, Gugus, the pilot that is trying to bring flame and chaos to the Swedish base.
The At Least You Tried award goes over to Gul'dan, but At Least You Tried does not win games. However, getting kills like that as Wolves takes down Arthas, that could games. In comes Stage Diver. Sonya is absolutely destroyed. The dude trying to help his teammate, but very nearly puts himself in danger. Luckily, extra radius on the face belt with the loudspeakers gets him out of danger.
I would call that tactical feeding right there, because Wolves bought so much time for his teammates, especially Gugus in that Dragonite, to deal absolute damage onto the bottom lane.
If ETC had not gone top, I would agree with you, but he went top, so they clearly intended Sonya to live, and as such, they lose value.
They lose a little bit of value, they lose a little bit of momentum, but the beautiful thing about Gugus as Genji in that Dragonite is even if it gets popped, the moment he pops the Swift Strike or the Cyber Agility, there we go. Yeah. He is into safety.
I like the route by Daikon, though, committing to if Genji just runs forward, then we can punish him. But Genji, these players, they are good. We know they're good, and as such, Genji does not get himself caught out.
Keep in mind, though, that
there's a leap available, and that would explain the kill onto Arthas. I did not see that before now.
Yeah, that's a good point you bring up there. So, against all that heavy CC, Sonya's like, I'm gonna rely... No, I'm not gonna rely on the rest of the Berserker, but I'm gonna use Leap to bring the pain to them or to get out of harm's way if needed.
I mean, aggression, aggression, aggression. The AAA is coming in from from Poland here, and so far it's working out for them.
Yeah, it's been working really well. And even if you take a look at Karazim, once again, Arjuv, despite being the only support as Karazim, he refuses to go for Divine Palm. That is not in his memo. He's like, as you said, aggression, 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 going for the 7-sided. And truth be told, against heroes like Arthas and Muradin, it could really get a lot of value.
Horrifying.
Oh, it missed.
Land as we see Mana staying alive, though. Twilight Dream to turn it round. But Zadude is tanking through. Even with the Twilight Dream, they commit to focus onto Knuti. But it's right now. The 7-sided strike hitting 3 heroes, spreading out the damage, and it's Juf that's taken out.
I was almost going to say that was absolute masterclass play by Team Poland, but so it was for Team Sweden. That Ancestral Healing by Henning really saved Knuti's life once more. The two teammates from Team Singularity basically on the same page at any given moment. However, if Team Poland had been a little bit more patient, they could have fought with level 13 Tencher.
Yes, they could have. If they'd had that 13, there's a good chance they would have won that fight. But It was messy was what that fight was.
Very much
They
so.
wanted to go do a huge amount of damage onto Nuti, but it ended up with only Karazim pressuring him.
But once again, so many good plays before everything turned south for Karazim. I mean, the Grey main dodge as well on that border fight, not making it land at all. Uh-oh, Gugus is overstaying his welcome here a little bit. Uh-oh.
And nice job there. Heavy impact as well, very much preventing Genji from escaping, and that's what happens when you burn your Swift Strike to scout.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. Now they're trying to go for the retaliation killer.
Nuti! Seven-sided, horrified for the turnaround though. Power slide, and down goes Nuti. It took a lot of heroics, but they got him.
Yeah, and that is actually a more important pickup than the Genji one before, because now with Genji almost being back and still the bottom shrine being under control of Team Poland, it could look like there's another Dragon Knight inbound for Team Poland.
Wolves, Mystical Spears over the wall. He will find Scott up here, but here's reinforcements for both teams. Both of these teams loving a brawl here as the Twilight Dream is dropped onto Sonya. She can't whirlwind. She finally tries, but it's too late. Daikon, though, he's used his main damage. What can he do here? Karazim, oh, never mind. Here's Genji as Mana uses his Dark Flight to move onto Scott, which is normally a bad idea, but he picks up the kills with the help of Gugas, who gets the resets. Rastro, he's buying time. He's just trying to survive so the Rhaegar can get to the point, but it's too late.
And Mana on that Grey main proves to be an unkillable beast, quite literally. The amount of dodges and jukes and escapes he's had in that teamfight was just amazing. Also, the reaction timing coming in from both teams, really reinforcing the top shrine when it was really needed to. Absolutely astounding top-tier Heroes of the Storm play.
If that seven-sided strike was still on cooldown, Muradin could have potentially sustained there, and that would have snuck the Dragon Knight in for Sweden. However, Karazim, Muradin, he's alone, he has Avatar up, cool, press R, and he was able to deny that to Team Sweden.
Team Poland has a lot of respect of that burden coming in from Rask here. The moment the Stormbolt goes down, Gugus, like he was stung by a bee. He's using the cyber agility immediately to get to safety because he was like, nope, had that once in a lifetime, and I don't want to experience that again.
Is this our new skin idea, Beekeeper Muradin? Just puts on the suit when he hits Avatar. As we do for now, see Nuti moving in with the rest of his team to try and deny mid. Genji is the only one here. It would only take one Swift Strike to try and do this, but Zadoon isn't going to contest, so they are not going to attempt to sneak it here.
Exactly, and once again, this time Team Poland is playing a lot more patiently. 16, the Talent Avenge is now available and on lock, basically. So now, if they really wanted to commit to a brawl, to a fight, that's the time to do it. By the way, we've had some really good skin ideas today. The Shark Anubarak, the
always have good skin ideas. We're the best. As we do see Wolves moving up. He was thinking about top lane, but Zadoon's already there, and the difference is Zadoon has global.
Yeah, Stage Dive is such a big tool now to really dominate the map and the rotations even further. Now, who's going to pick up the Dragon Knight? Looks like Wolves as actually the pilot this time around. No more Gugas.
Going to pick it up. Gugas, he has Dragon Blade available. If they can get enough damage, they want that available as opposed to the leap. They're going to rely on that stage dive instead. As Wolf just wades forward without a care in the world. It's going to begin wailing on that fort.
I wonder, though, how much value they can get out of this Dragon Knight. It's falling in health rapidly, and only the middle fort, trade fort, I'm not sure if that's exactly worth it. No side lane pressure at all. The ETC could have maybe joined with the stage dive so they can utilize the 16 advantage a little bit more. This is still pretty good defense for Team Sweden, I would say.
Very nice defense indeed, unless Wolves can get this top fort as well with the so little health available. The ETC zoning, though, will potentially give them this as Wolf dropping health on this Dragon Knight down to 18%, focusing it down with everything he got. And the fact is, this will work. Sweden are abandoning this. They're letting Poland take this, and in exchange, they're grouping up. Looks like they want to try and make a play onto bot lane.
Yeah, Zadoon's body here was basically the only reason why Team Sweden didn't want to press through that choke point. There were so many perils, so many potential targets for a power slide.
Seconds on the Dragon Knight. They are just using that to the max.
Yeah, but as you said, Tisha, as you pointed out, the immediate rotation coming in from Team Sweden, if they can really deal with the Dragon Knight, guess what? They're going to try to take value elsewhere from Poland.
Exactly, and they weren't able to get the fort, but that's still good. Boots and stuns and fears and Twilight Dream as Genji is taken out. Wolves is focused as well. He would have to use Leap if he wanted to get out, which he did. He burned Leap as he was taken down. 70-second cooldown, but it's a 40-second death, so it's still going to be long after he's dead.
Not sure about you, Tetra, but that looked like a Twilight Nightmare to me for the Genji, because I didn't really see him survive there at all. There was no way. He had used the deflect already. The CC chain was marvelously executed here. Gugus, it happens very rarely, but if he gets caught out of position, Team Sweden is going to punish him mercilessly.
Here comes the stage dive, but the enemy team has already left the area here. Seven Side is onto Rask, a lot of damage, but he's so tanky.
He's so tanky.
Getting the Storm Shield as well. Sorry, the Lightning Shield from Rhaegar. They're able to crush through that Earth Shield percentage shielding onto a Muradin avatar form. That's a lot of shield.
I mean, there is a reason why Rhaegar was considered to be one of the best supports for Cho'Gath for a long period of time. And that's because of Earth Shield. Other high HP targets like an Avatar Muradin, like, let's say, a Stitches or a Diablo, they benefit heavily from all the extra protection. And it looked like Poland was really sure they would get that kill. Knocking him back into the 7th side was a good move, but not good enough.
And right now, Poland on the back foot as Sweden begin to take a lead here, even though the structure count is very in favor of Team Poland here. Sweden are bringing it back.
They're bringing it back quite handsomely here. Beautiful escape, by the way, on Wolves here with Asanya. Mini dodging the Howling Blast, using the Mystical Spear over the wall. Fantastic mechanics.
As we see Sweden moving back to their side of the map, they've run out of steam to really just put pressure on, because everyone is now back from the side of Team Poland. So they move on to their side of the map, grab mercenaries, they're going to put pressure onto the map. It's unlikely either team will make a huge play for the Dragon Knight so early when they're both approaching 20.
Yeah, look how close this game still is. Despite the fact that Sweden just got a couple of juicy kills under their belt, it's a dead even game. Not just in terms of experience, but also in terms of structures. Actually, Poland is still slightly ahead, with the top fort still standing.
That one fort is all they need here, as both teams full level away from level 20. XP is identical.
Very much true. So, this next Dragon Knight could be a very crucial one. Both teams are trying to race to level 20 as quickly as they can. Mercenary camp available for Team Sweden here, the Bruiser camp. They're actually going to have to deal with this red mercenary camp as well. You never want to let those leave those unattended, because even if you still have your tower buildings there, those bruises are starting to hurt really hard lately.
Oh, yes. And even if those towers are available, you still don't want the bruises coming through, because they burn ammo, and like I said, they still hurt. As we see Sweden, they're able to de-push top, and now they have their own bruises, which will be going onto the fort of Team Poland.
Now, it's going to be interesting to see which team will have a bigger power spike at level 20. Is it going to be the Gul'dan with the upgraded Horrify, also making targets vulnerable? Maybe the Astral Communion?
True, or we could see from the other side the double Genji coming in here.
Definitely true.
Sonya, she becomes so much harder to kill when she has that Ignore Pain, unless we're seeing Area Crater, in which case, lol, as we do see Poland just defending top lane with Zadoon up there.
ETC as well. I mean, Zadoon could go for a variety of great talents. That's the beauty of ETC. He could consider a Storm Shield against the damage from Gul'dan, maybe a Blink to have another escape, or maybe just a Death Wash, which is always good for those insane plays.
But of course, there's always the chance for the crowd pleaser. Getting those extra stage dives and of course the extra raids, and that's what he goes for. We do not in fact see the Ariat Crater coming in from Sonya, instead that extra stain. Storm Shield coming in from Karazim here.
Okay, so that is actually a good thing to have, because it seemed to me that Knuti on the Gul'dan got a little bit too much value in those team fights with all the AoE damage he's able to put out. So having at least one Storm Shield available from Karazim is definitely a thing that makes a lot of sense. And especially when Karazim is the solo support and you have so many other aggressive heroes like Sonya, Greymane, or Genji, he doesn't need to go Epiphany necessarily.
We also now, however, have the almost invincible Muradin and Arthas. Arthas with the anti-magic shield, Muradin with Stone Form and his Rewind to get his more healing statics out.
Very scary indeed. It's going to take a lot of combined focus, damage, and efforts to really pierce through that stalwart defending frontline for Team Sweden.
Zadoon continues what he has been doing for like the last couple minutes of just kind of AFKing top, just in case anyone does capture this. As we see here, Zadoon can move back in, recapture it, and even stage dive for his team. But right now, it is a trade. 1 for 1. Bot to Poland, top to Sweden.
I think Poland comes out ahead slightly of this trade, though, because they were able to abuse the fact that Team Sweden was focusing so heavily on top, so they could sneak in a Siege Giant camp, opening the map a little bit more. And look at ETC. He's trying to get ready to maybe capture the top shrine very hiddenly, and if they manage to do that successfully, they could be in for another Dragon Knight. And Tetcher, the next Dragon Knight is really going to threaten the keep, maybe even the core.
It really is. We're starting to get to that point where it does a crazy amount of damage. Once we're at 20 minutes, it does over 1,000 damage per auto attack to structures. It's really scary as we see the trade 1-for-1.
So I wonder when ETC is deciding to pull the trigger. I mean, he is definitely going to be the ideal hero to really open up a team fight. In the meantime, Curse Bullet hitting on Rask.
He dropped 7-sided. He dropped 7-sided. That's a big deal here. And Avatar was not used. The CC on Rask, not enough it. ETC, he's moved back. They've lost vision of a couple heroes, and he does not want to be the one called out. Greymane needs to be careful about his positioning here as well. The camp getting traded here. Mana gets stunned up. There's the root, and down he goes.
This one time, Mana decided to get a little bit more greedy, a little bit more aggressive. He got punished by Rask immediately. Great map awareness here, though, by Wolves, trying to delay this Dragon Knight even further. But 50 seconds Tetcher on Greymane is a huge deal.
It really is, and the fact that this neutralization will not matter here due to top only just being taken. Scon, a little bit slow in his rotation, so this will be timed almost perfectly, unless Juve could get her time, but there's no time left as Rask picks up the Dragon Knight.
Now, where is he going to go? Bottom lane is probably the most likely destination because, once again, it gives you more movement freedom. It gives you great opportunities to escape. You only take damage from one keep at a time, whereas if you push to the middle, top and bottom can actually fire at you while you're pushing for the core.
And there is still the scenario. Oh, that went badly! Oh, stage dive as they begin to turn it around. Horrify is used, pushing Karazi miles away. He's still starting to drop Storm Shield. 7-sided strike onto Scott, and the Dragon Blade is coming in. Hennig is taken down, but Genji is dropped too. Juve in the background is also dropped. The Dragon Knight is chunking the heroes here, as we also see ETC completely destroyed. Hey, Greymane's back, as we do see him in serious trouble, as he now has to defend of a 4-man Sweden roster.
And it is only Rhaegar who ended up falling. He doesn't really contribute a lot to a core call anyways. Mana, a valiant defender, but in the end, it was not enough.
And the 4v5, risky play by Poland, but it was not enough as Sweden move in. They're going to be taking down the core. Look at those respawn timers. That's going to be game number 1 going over to Sweden.
The Swedish team, considered by many to be the underdog coming into this grand finals, they proved everybody wrong. They took down Poland in that first game on Dragon Shower, and once again, it continues to be the bane of the Polish team. They lost on Dragon Shower to Team Germany, now they lost to Team Sweden. They will really have to work on their heroes' performance on that battleground.
It's not always the best choice, but sometimes Team Fight Dragon Knight can be absolutely terrifying, and that's what we saw there. Even Genji with the Dragon Blade, he got the kill, but by that point he was too low. Too much damage coming out from Sweden.
Yeah, solo support Kazim, definitely not enough healing brought to that Dragonshire game. And that's what we were worried about in the draft. Sweden, it looked like just outdrafted their opponents, and as soon as they got their balance and basically got into the game, it seemed over.
And this was a very even and fair game, you could argue. Whereas the game against Germany didn't really feel, you know, super serious and super fair necessarily because of that cheesy shenanigan composition. But Sweden basically took the battle to Poland in a normal, conservative manner.
Absolutely insane at the end. I really don't think Poland wanted to fight there. That was a situation of Sonya's spear took her to the wrong side of the Dragon Knight. I really don't think they wanted to fight there, and Sonya had the choice of I either leap out, and now I have no heroic to defend, or I just try and do something.
And having that spear cooldown would have been so useful as well in that final team fight. But what I want to talk about as we load our first replay up is basically Poland. They were playing that early game so fast, and Sweden could not keep up. And they got this huge advantage, and they kept getting picks as we load in now. And here, so Wolves gets caught, and it looks bad. Instant silence onto Malfurion is good. Now, I want you guys to watch Greymane and just watch what he does. So he's chasing in. He's doing a huge amount of damage to Malfurion. Now he realizes they're going to focus me. So he rolls out. He throws the cocktail. Mjolnir keeps jumping. Now watch Genji. He comes in from the side, instant Dragon Blade, and look how smooth he is with these E resets. So he's holding his E. He has another one up right now. He waits till he gets low. He gets the reset, instant dash back in. Dragon Blade now times out. Now he goes to block the Stormbolt onto Mana. And of course, they do try and secure the Mjolnir kill, but Vask as usual, today at least, he gets out on 5% HP on Muradin.
Rask is a god. We just have to, we have to say that at this point. His Muradin is so scary, and the fact he was there for so long, I said it in the cast, was to try and give Rhaegar the chance. They were the only two left alive, and they had the double channel there. Rhaegar was just not quick enough to make it up, and Muradin, he ran out of health.
And it seems like the Swedish recipe seems to work against Team Poland here as well. With the Muradin comfort pick, Knuti on his Gul'dan. If you've watched Heroes of the Storm, the Nexus games today, you know what a god he is on that hero. And it is now Team Poland who will have to find a remedy, a counter remedy to really counter it.
I think banning it works quite well. But
I heard so too.
Get to replay 2, which is that huge team fight in the bottom lane. So, as we move forward, we see, just like Tetsuya said, they only have 4. That spear taking them to the wrong side, but they were already coming in for the engage. Now imagine if there was an extra poison spear onto Gul'dan here. He'd be a lot lower. And you look at Kazim on the side, he gets super low. He just manages to survive with that Storm Shield and the 7-sided strike. They get the kill onto Rhaegar actually, but they need to get out because the Dragon Knight destroying people with these auto attacks and with the damage coming out from the punt, and there's just not enough tools left for Team Poland here. Maybe if Zidane, instead of sliding in, he slides out and he waits for Greymane and they try as 2, maybe they can do something.
Yeah, it is a hard decision to make though, because when you have that big obstacle, the big Dragon Knight knocking on your door after 20 minutes, you're basically forced to do something. Unfortunately, it is not always easy to make the right decision on the right circumstance.
Very true. Rough game for both teams. Like you said, Poland ahead in the start, but Sweden bringing it back. They're always so focused when it comes to the late game.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take another look at the map vetoes because there was a little bit of confusion going on